There's plenty of reasons to believe why the kids are all right.
You're Locked On Flames, your daily podcast on the Calgary Flames. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Locked On Flames. As always, I'm your host, Jess Belmosto, and thank you so much for joining me here on today's episode. Today's episode is brought to you by Sleeper. Download the Sleeper app and use promo code LOCKEDONNHL to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. We got to talk about the Flames' efforts on Saturday night. And the game, we're going to preview the game against the Kraken taking place tonight. And my three players to watch in that game, because I think that we got to start paying closer attention to certain things and not just harping on the negative or the overly positive. But before we do all of that, make sure you are subscribed to Locked On Flames wherever you get your podcasts. And of course on YouTube as well. That way you can hang out and see my cat occasionally if you're a cat person, or drop in the comments because I love hearing from y'all. Nick will be joining us later this week as well. And Flames, we're going to continue this conversation about the Flames needing to actually do something, right? But first we're going to talk about the good fight. They fought a very, very good fight against the Islanders on Saturday. I was thoroughly impressed. There were definitely some highs and lows game, but at one point I believe they were down 3-1, and for them to fight back like that, I didn't think this team had that in them. They proved me wrong. I mean, yes, they ultimately lost, but not only did it go to overtime, it went to a shootout, and that's their second shootout in 3 games. So maybe tonight we can just wrap it up in 60. Maybe, just for our considerations. Nick DeSimone is quickly adjusting, and he looks great. I really like what we're seeing. He's starting to look more settled and comfortable. He has 4 assists in 7 games. And when talking to the Flames media earlier this weekend, he said, I think each game you get more comfortable. Obviously, that stuff's nice, the 4 assists in 7 games. But my job is to defend hard, kill plays, and things I can keep getting better at. He's not wrong. I mean, I appreciate his offensive efforts, but ultimately he's there to defend. And he is on a pair with Nikita Zadorov, who we don't know when he's going to be moved. And one thing that I am a little interested in waiting for is to see who his next partner is. Shifts in his development. I think turned 29 yesterday, but he's in the NHL now. It doesn't look like the Flames are not going to keep him around. I think that he's a good third pairing guy, and he's getting the job done. And I wonder if the Flames end up bringing in, another defenseman, or are they going to bring up another defensive prospect, or finally slot Dennis Gilbert in there more often. Who knows? But I do like what we're seeing with him and Huberdeau as well. I think that a lot of Huberdeau's strengths are coming out when, he's on the ice with DeSimone. I think it's an interesting combination. I was reading a lot, an article or tweet, or it was something over the weekend, where it talked about how a lot of Huberdeau's success came from the defenseman on the Panthers. Now, I didn't watch a lot of the Panthers when Huberdeau was on the team. I still don't watch a lot of the Panthers, so I'm not entirely sure. But to see that that's kind of clicking now here is great, because we had to figure out how to get Huberdeau going. And if that meant the 28-year-old, extra defenseman coming up from the Wranglers, we will take it. It was unexpected, but we're seeing a lot of success with him and DeSimone, as well as Backlund and Coleman. But I am also very impressed with the new face in town, and that would be Yegor Sharangovich. He is looking great. He definitely had his moments in preseason and training camp where he looked good, where we were like, oh, okay, like that makes me feel a little bit better about trading Tyler Toffoli. It doesn't fix the whole thing, but, I'm comfortable with it. And then he'd regress a little bit and he'd slide back and he'd be on the first line, then the fourth line, and he'd go from wing to center. And there wasn't much consistency there for him, but he has settled in nicely. I think that he is someone that can kind of plug and play anywhere, but the Flames need someone like him who has a nice shot on the ice at really any given moment. He did have a down year with the Devils last year, and I believe he missed 7 games. But, watching him kind of find his stride is nice. I think that seeing that in any player is good. I think that, especially one that is new into Calgary and the system and just the culture, I think getting settled in there, it just takes a few minutes, a little bit of time. It happens, right? But he has a really nice shot, and I'm glad we're seeing him more on the ice as well. He's getting more time on that top line, and I am hoping that his success in, tying up the game and then potting the first round shootout goal means something to Huska and the other coaching staff. I hope that we are starting to see things they don't have to fully click, but as long as they are not going as south as they were in the month of October, that's fine. That's fine. I will happily take some sort of progress from where we were. And coming up next, we are going to talk about the game against the Seattle Kraken and how Andrew Mangiapane might want to skate with his head up the entire game. But before we do that, we are going to take a quick break here, and I'm going to talk to you about eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience, that's what brings home the winning trophy, and it also keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more, whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you need when you're looking for it. That is 122 million parts. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you are burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at all the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home a win. Keep your ride or die alive with ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply, and eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to today's episode of Locked On Flames. You can follow me on Twitter, X, whatever, at Jess Belmosto. I am very happy to have anyone following me. It's been, I guess, technically 5 seasons of covering this team, and it's been a delight to become close with a lot of you guys and meet new Flames folks on Twitter. Andrew Mangiapane is going to meet some players tonight as well, since he did not have the chance to do that in this team's last meet. Andrew Mangiapane, if you recall, he earned himself a suspension in the last time these two teams met because he decided to, completely unprovoked, cross-check Jared McCann in the back of the neck, got the match penalty and was suspended for 1 game, Probably should have been more, but that's up to the Department of Player Safety. But anyways, let's get back to the present. Right now, the Kraken are sitting at 7-8-4. They are 5th in the Pacific, and they actually just handed the Canucks their first loss at home. The Canucks are an interesting case. I think that the Flames finally broke them, and you're welcome. I'm so glad that we could contribute something to the Pacific Division other than laughter. Vince Dunn and Jaden Schwartz are sitting at the top of scoring with 16 and 15 points respectively. The Flames have one double-digit scorer, and that would be Blake Coleman, and he currently leads the team with 5 goals. Congrats. Again, Seattle's a young team. They are still struggling with goaltending. I didn't realize how bad it was until I was gathering notes for the show, and both Decord and Grubauer have a sub 900 save percentage. And I know that we don't solely go off of save percentage because it can be an unbalanced statistic along with goals against. But based on the charts that I was looking at from multiple different people and sites, the visuals do not put Seattle in a good spot for goaltending. This is going to be a very interesting game. And I feel like I use that word a lot when describing games with the Flames because they are an interesting team. You never know what you're going to get. It's a surprise every day. But because this is going to be an emotionally charged game, I fully expect there to be minimal 5-on-5 play. I think that it's going to be a lot of special teams, a lot of post-whistle shenanigans, the type of stuff you see in the playoffs, pests being pests. And I'm not entirely sure if the Kraken have like a true pest. Like there isn't like a Matthew Tkachuk or a Brad Marchand or a Tom Wilson to egg any of the Flames on. But I feel like Martin Pospisil and Andrew Mangiapane are going to be 2 players to watch in that situation because I feel like even Rasmus Anderson, ever since he just gently shoved Mark Giordano in the Toronto game last weekend, he does not care. He has nothing to lose. And, this can be a fun game. This could really be a lot of fun. There's this could potentially be, I know it's a Monday night game against, 2 Pacific Division teams, the week of American Thanksgiving. Typically, I don't really think a lot of people are going to feel this way, but I feel like this game could have playoff atmosphere type of vibes. I think that, especially because it's at the Climate Pledge Arena, I do feel like it's going to be a lot of, just fueling that fire and the fan emotions and playing into all of that. I did go over some of the stats for the Kraken and they do not look good. That record makes a lot more sense, 7-8-4, after looking at this. I was looking at the notes from the Canucks game, and it looks like they played a very sloppy game. I don't know exactly why, if there was a rhyme or reason for it, but they didn't play well. And the Flames don't really play well either sometimes. They do not play well, actually. And I guess it was messy and it was sloppy, but good news for the Flames is that they've started to clean up their mess in the neutral zone. They have learned to pass 2 guys on their own team and find the back of the net. I know that it seems so simple to sit here and say these things, but when you are watching this team with a critical eye, it is an entirely different experience. But you're also like, I still have like, I just want this team to do well so I can come on and talk to y'all and be like, Flames finally did it, you guys. They did something new here. But the Kraken actually allow the 9th most goals in the NHL. Flames aren't in that list. Very pleasantly surprised to see that. And they actually have one of the worst penalty kills in the league, too, sitting at 27. And for those curious, the Flames allow the 12th most goals and are the 7th worst power play. Could be worse. You could be sitting at 32 for all of those. And I do think that the Flames power play does have to get it together. You know, we've talked a lot about that. And especially if this game is going to be a lot of special teams and a lot of not 5-on-5 hockey, I'm hoping that, you know, no one decides to get themselves ejected from the game in the first 10 minutes. I would hope that no one even gets hurt, and maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully I am, because I don't want to see the constant mistakes of, you know, having to kill off a penalty, having to try to score on the power play. Honestly, I wish that they could just decline the penalty and forget it, because it's bad. A lot of the time, this is bad. And I'm very curious to see if the power play gets it together. There was so much hope and expectation for it, with Mark Savard coming on as the assistant coach and taking over the power play. But he said the other night that they can't get it together. They can't piece it together, and they can't shoot. All good things. All great things you want to hear about your power play, and something that is heavily relied on in this game. So you're just going to have to keep an eye on it and hope that a miracle happens. I think that this, again, is going to be a fun game. I think that it will be worth staying up for. It will be something that the Flames, you know, they might be able to put a feather in their cap after this and get another game closer to 500. And hopefully they stop the Kraken from reaching 500 tonight. But we are going to keep our eye out on 3 special players in tonight's matchup against the Seattle Kraken. And before we do that, though, I do want to make sure that you tune into Locked On Seattle Kraken with Erica Ayala, the host over there. She's great. She provides a ton of great analysis, and I think that, as you know, you can get a lot more insight from her on what you might see tonight. And we are going to take a quick break here, and I'm going to talk to you about Sleeper. A new NHL season brings all sorts of possibilities. Connor McDavid could score 60 goals. The Flames could hoist the Stanley Cup. And you could win big by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of Locked On NHL, of the Locked On NHL network. Sleeper is our number one choice for daily fantasy sports, and especially daily fantasy hockey, because with Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash bet in daily fantasy hockey contests. All you need to do is pick whether studs like McDavid, Crosby, McKinnon will record more or less than their Sleeper projections for the evening, like with things like goals, assists, saves, plus minus, and more. To win a 100 times your bet on Sleeper, you need to correctly predict the outcome of 8 player stats. You heard me, Flames fans. You can win 100 times your money playing daily fantasy hockey with Sleeper. So start paying attention and nail your picks so you can start winning big. Use promo code LOCKEDONNHL and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That is code LOCKEDONNHL. See Sleeper's terms of use for details and locational availability. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with me on today's episode of Locked On Flames. I hope that you are having a fantastic November and are making your month even better by subscribing to Locked On Flames wherever you get your podcasts, because we're here for you 5 days a week. When I put together my 3 or 4 players to watch lists, I like to take a few things into consideration. I like to look at the guys that are doing well, guys that have improved, and guys that have kind of fallen flat. And of course, there are different variables that go into each category and why that player might be playing like that. But I try to pick the most interesting ones. And to start, this might be an obvious pick, but this is Yegor Sharangovich. Yes, we did just see him score technically 2 goals in the game against the Islanders, and I think we've been seeing really good hockey from him. I like what he brings. He's not afraid. Like he reads the plays very well, and he shoots. He shoots the puck. He's not one to overpass and overcomplicate a play. He has a good hockey IQ. He knows when the lane's open and just shoots. And I think that one of the most interesting parts of his game recently has been his comparison or his attractiveness to the Flames general manager, Craig Conroy, because Elliot Friedman said on 32 Thoughts that the Flames they want to get a player like him in return for one of their defensemen. For Yegor to come in a month and a half into this thing and draw the positive attention like that, I think is great. And you do want more guys like that because he does contribute to the team in, the playmaking ways. He scores. He's on the power play too. Like he's kind of all over the place, and he's someone that gets the job done clearly. Like we saw that in the game against the Islanders. He had the tying goal and then the shootout goal in the first round. I'm really looking forward to see how he plays tonight. I want to see more of him on the top line. I want to see more of him on the ice at any given time, really. And this is an obvious choice as well, I feel like, and that would be Martin Pospisil. He celebrated his birthday on Sunday, so happy belated birthday to Marty Party, who has 4 points in 5 games. What a delight. This kid has been so fun to watch. He's like a little fly, a little gnat that's flying around your ear and you just can't get it away. He was kind of, in the Canucks kitchen, if you will, getting all in their business and not backing down. And he didn't really, I think he had technically had a fight, but for him to go from, a third liner in the AHL to having 5 concussions, like that's a significant amount in a short period of time, to being one of the team's top producers and then transitioning well into the NHL is fantastic. That is so exciting to see. And I want to see more of him. Kadri, and Zari's chemistry has just been off the charts. And I hope that they keep this energy and this fun and the ability to finish up. I hope they keep it up because it has been an absolute delight to watch. And I think that it has, kind of injected confidence into this team. And sometimes you need that. You need the little push from the kids. And we talked about that probably a week or 2 into the season, about how sometimes you just need a little help from the kids. And I think that it's working. And my last player to watch might be a surprise to some, and that would be Rasmus Andersson. Now, this was one of the players that I kind of plucked from the falling flat category. I feel like he's had some questionable moments out there, and specifically against the Islanders, he just did not put any effort into defending, and he looks lost out there sometimes. And this kills me because I am a Rasmus Anderson stan, like, through and through. I think that he is so fun. I think that he is a great, he brings a great energy to the ice. His one-timer is, there's a reason he's out on the power play, right? And I am disappointed in what we've seen. Like I said, he's looked lost out there. There's moments where I don't know if he knows where he is. And it does unfortunately feel like Yegor is doing most of the work some nights. And I get that he missed 4 games early on, but there's been enough time to shake it off and recoup and get back into the swing of things. You are the team's top defenseman for a reason. And I don't know what it is. I think that he is overpassing as well. That was one of the biggest things I noticed or in the game against the Islanders. The confidence isn't there. It's almost like he just kept passing to Yegor, and the Yegor just took the shots, even though Anderson could have. So want that to be something we keep an eye on. And there's just some things that have caught my eye, and it's unfortunate. It's not always the good stuff. But that'll do it for today's episode of Locked On Flames. Thank you so much for joining me here today on this Monday as the Flames get ready to take on the Seattle Kraken at Climate Pledge Arena tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern, 8 Mountain Time, and 7 p.m. Pacific. Thank you, everyone, and make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcasts. I appreciate you being here with us. I am so grateful for it, and we will see you later. We'll see you Tuesday. So make sure you take care of yourself, stay hydrated, stay kind, and remember to start thawing your turkey.